Leather. Leather drops from cows, horses, donkeys, mules, llamas, and trader llamas, serving as a crucial early game crafting material. With a range of 0 to 2 pieces per mob affected by looting, this versatile resource creates armor that's mediocre in protection, but excellent for dyeing in 16 million color combinations. Beyond basic armor, leather crafts essential items like books via paper combination, item frames for decorative display, and saddles for animal transportation. The relatively low drop rate makes large cow farms a common sight in survival worlds as players seek consistent leather resources without resorting to horse genocide. Despite its utility, leather armor remains the game's punching bag of protection, the clothing equivalent of using a paper towel as an umbrella during a thunderstorm. String. String drops primarily from spiders and cave spiders, 0 to 2 per kill, with cats offering a smaller 0 to 2 chance and striders providing a generous 0 to 5 potential yield. This versatile fiber serves as a crucial crafting component for bows, fishing rods, looms, and leads, making it one of the game's most useful early resources. String also creates wool through a 2x2 crafting grid, crossbows when combined with sticks and iron, and tripwire hooks for redstone contraptions. The various sources provide interesting risk-reward considerations. Farm spiders for consistent yields, tame cats for passive generation, or brave the Nether for strider-sourced abundance. Despite its incredible versatility, string remains one of the most mundane-looking items in Minecraft, proving once again that appearances in survival situations can be as deceiving as that peaceful-looking creeper who just wants a hug. Bone. Bones drop from skeletons, strays, skeleton horses, and fish in Bedrock Edition. It provides 0 to 2 items per mob that fuel several agricultural and crafting systems. When crafted into bone meal, they serve as instant fertilizer that accelerates crop growth, forces flower generation, and expands azure blue patches into massive blue fields. Directly, bones craft soup-carrying bowls and wolf-befriending treats that convert hostile wolves into loyal companions. The skeleton source dropping method creates an amusing risk-reward situation. Getting bones requires fighting enemies armed with ranged weapons who seem to have graduated from the Stormtrooper School of Archery, yet occasionally land surprisingly painful shots. Rotten Flesh. Rotten flesh drops from zombies, husks, zombie villagers, drowned, zombie horses, and zombified piglins in quantities of 0 to 2 per kill. This putrid meat serves as emergency food that restores hunger points but inflicts the hunger status effect, creating a desperate risk calculation during starvation situations. Beyond questionable nutrition, rotten flesh trades with cleric villagers for emeralds and tames or heals wolves without negative effects, suggesting canine digestive systems in Minecraft are significantly more robust than the human ones. The item represents a perfect example of the game's risk-reward food system. You can eat it and probably won't die, but you'll definitely regret your life choices as your hunger bar drains faster than your dignity. Tamed cats may also present this decomposing delicacy as morning gifts to their owners, proving that even in a blocky video game, cats maintain their perverse desire to present dead things as tokens of affection. Raw or cooked meats. Raw meats, including beef, 1 to 3 from cows and mushrooms, pork chops, 1 to 3 from pigs or 2 to 4 from hoglins, mutton, 1 to 2 from sheep, rabbit, 1 from rabbits, and chicken, 1 from chickens, provide the game's primary food sources. All meat variants cook into more nutritious versions, either through furnace processing or by killing mobs while they're on fire, which conveniently delivers pre-cooked meals. Cooked beef and pork chops offer the highest saturation among standard foods, making them prized provisions for extended expeditions. The cooking requirement creates an interesting progression system where players transition from hunger-inducing raw meats to fully cooked cuisine as their infrastructure develops. The fire-based auto-cooking mechanic suggests that Minecraft operates on cartoon physics where momentary flames perfectly prepare meat rather than charring it to inedibility. creating the only world where setting animals ablaze is considered an acceptable cooking method rather than a disturbing sign of pyromania. Wool. Wool drops from sheep, 1 per kill if not sheared, in the color matching the sheep's appearance, providing the primary ingredient for beds, essential items that skip the dangerous night and set spawn points. Beyond sleeping arrangements, wool crafts decorative banners, colorful carpets, and paintings that mysteriously transform into various images when placed. Sheep can be sheared for 1 to 3 wool without killing them, making renewable wool farms practical for ethical players. The colored variants create 16 distinct decoration options, with sheep dyeing mechanics allowing controlled production of specific colors. While wool lacks the survival necessity of food or tools, the bed creation utility makes it an early game priority that sends many new players on frantic sheep hunts as the first sunset approaches, creating the unique Minecraft experience of punching fluffy animals in desperate pursuit of a good night's sleep. Fish. Raw fish, including cod, 1 from cod, 0 to 1 from dolphins, and 0 to 2 from polar bears. Salmon, 1 from salmon, and 0 to 2 from polar bears. Pufferfish, 1 from pufferfish, and tropical fish, 1 from tropical fish, provide less filling alternatives to terrestrial meat sources. These aquatic proteins can be cooked like other meats for improved nutrition, though tropical fish and pufferfish remain inedible or hazardous regardless of preparation. Beyond nutrition, fish serve as breeding items for cats and dolphins, with raw cod taming ocelots in older versions. The fish category includes special rare drops in Java Edition, 5% bone meal, and Bedrock Edition, 25% bones, creating additional value beyond consumption. The ocean's bounty represents Minecraft's most accessible early game food source, requiring no tools beyond an empty hand, proving that sometimes the most effective survival strategy is simply punching water until dinner magically appears, a technique that would leave real-world survivalists both confused and very, very hungry. Ink sac and glow ink sac. Ink sacs drop from squids, 1 to 3 per kill, while glow ink sacs drop from their luminescent variants at the same rate, providing essential dye resources for text formatting and decoration. Regular ink creates black dye used in crafting, coloring, and writing systems, while glow ink transforms signs into luminescent displays visible in darkness and underwater. Both variants require water-based combat, creating unique harvesting challenges as players struggle with Minecraft's awkward swimming mechanics while battling surprisingly resilient cephalopods. The relatively recent addition of glow squids and their illuminated ink demonstrates Minecraft's ongoing commitment to expanding seemingly minor mechanics like sign visibility into full features worthy of new mobs. Despite their useful properties, both ink types derive from creatures with surprisingly vicious death animations. The innocent-looking squids explode in dramatic ink clouds when killed, making their harvesting process seem unnecessarily theatrical for something that's essentially just collecting office supplies. Feather. Feathers drop from chickens, 0 to 2 per kill, and parrots, 1 to 2 per kill, providing one of the game's most straightforward crafting components. These lightweight plumes create arrows when combined with flint and sticks, making them essential for ranged combat. Beyond ammunition, feathers craft the often overlooked fletching table, a job block for Fletcher villagers that otherwise serves no player function. The modest chicken source creates an interesting ethical dilemma for players. Establish automated cooked chicken farms which produce feathers as byproducts, or rely on the passive egg-laying mechanics for more humane procurement. Tamed cats may also bring feathers as morning gifts, suggesting they've been hunting chickens behind your back, a rare instance where the game's questionable physics allows cats to somehow capture birds that can literally fly away from danger. Slime ball. Slime balls drop from small slimes, 0 to 2 per kill, with additional sources from panda sneezes and cat gifts, making these sticky substances surprisingly versatile crafting materials. When crafted into slime blocks, they create bouncy surfaces that negate fall damage and serve as essential components in flying machines and complex redstone contraptions. Directly, slime balls craft leads for animal transportation, magma cream for fire resistance potions, and sticky pistons, fundamental blocks that can both push and pull other blocks. The primary slime source requires finding specific chunks where slime spawn below layer 40, creating one of the game's more unusual hunting challenges that involves digging massive underground rooms and waiting for bouncing cubes to appear. Despite their crucial mechanical importance, slime balls remain among the game's grossest items, the Minecraft equivalent of finding slightly used chewing gum and deciding it's perfect for your next engineering project. Magma Cream. Magma Cream drops from large and medium-sized magma cubes, 0 to 1 per kill, providing one of the Nether's key brewing ingredients. When used in potions, this fiery substance creates fire resistance brews that grant temporary immunity to lava, fire, and other combustible hazards, essential protection for extended Nether exploration. Beyond brewing, Magma Cream crafts magma blocks, which damage players who stand on them, but also create bubble columns in water. The Magma Cube source creates an interesting risk-balance situation where players must venture into the Nether's most dangerous regions to obtain protection from that very environment, particularly since the dropping mobs split into smaller versions when attacked, multiplying the threat with each successful hit. Despite its critical utility for Nether survival, Magma Cream looks disturbingly like someone combined a slime ball with spicy mustard, an unappetizing appearance for something that somehow grants immunity to lava when consumed. Blaze Rod. Blaze Rods drop exclusively from blazes, 0 to 1 per kill, and player kills only, serving as one of the Nether's most valuable resources despite their modest appearance. These glowing sticks transform into blaze powder, a crucial brewing ingredient that fuels brewing stands and creates essential potions like strength and fire resistance. More importantly, blaze powder combines with ender pearls to craft Eyes of Ender, the only items capable of activating end portals and locating strongholds. The exclusivity of this drop creates one of the game's necessary progression bottlenecks, forcing players to brave Nether fortresses and combat floating fire elementals that seem perpetually angry about their lack of legs. Despite their critical importance to game progression, blaze rods somehow look less impressive than ordinary sticks, a classic example of Minecraft's don't judge items by their pixels philosophy. Ender Pearl. Ender Pearls drop from Endermen in quantities of 0 to 1 per kill, providing the game's only instantaneous teleportation method outside of commands. When thrown, these mysterious orbs teleport players to their impact location at the cost of 5 health points, or 2.5 hearts, creating a mobility tool that balances convenience with danger. Beyond transportation, Ender Pearls combine with Blaze Powder to create Eyes of Ender, the items essential for finding and activating end portals. The relative rarity and Enderman danger makes Pearl Collection a noteworthy challenge, especially considering the tall mob's tendency to teleport away mid-battle, or inexplicably decide that your respectful distance staring suddenly constitutes a capital offense. Despite teleporting being one of the most technologically advanced concepts in gaming, Minecraft reduces the miracle to throw ball take damage appear elsewhere, a teleportation system that would make Star Trek engineers weep into their dilithium chambers. Spider Eye. Spider Eyes drop from spiders and cave spiders, 0 to 1 per kill and player kills only, serving primarily as brewing ingredients despite their unappetizing appearance. When consumed directly, these toxic orbs restore minimal hunger while inflicting poison damage, making them among the game's least efficient food sources. Their true value emerges in brewing stands where they create potions of poison for offensive combat or transform into potions of weakness through fermentation. The item's dual nature as both food and ingredient creates interesting risk-reward calculations, particularly in desperate hunger situations where the poisoning effect might be worth the minor nutrition. Witches may also drop Spider Eyes 0 to 6 upon death, suggesting that arachnid ophthalmology plays a significant role in magical practices within the Minecraft universe, a disturbing insight into potion making that raises questions about what exactly players are drinking when they consume those colorful brews. Phantom Membrane. Phantom Membrane drops from Phantom, 0 to 1 per kill and player kills only, providing one of the game's most specialized but valuable materials. These translucent sheets repair elytra when used in an anvil, extending the lifespan of the game's most coveted transportation item. Beyond repairs, phantom membranes brew into slow-falling potions that negate fall damage and create gentler descents from dangerous heights. The unique spawning mechanics of phantoms appearing only after 3 days without sleep makes this the only mob drop directly tied to player behavior, creating a consequence system for insomnia that manifests as swooping terror birds. Tamed cats occasionally offer phantom membranes as morning gifts, suggesting either impressive hunting prowess or a concerning access to other dimensional planes where they battle flying nightmares while you sleep peacefully nearby. Rabbit's Foot. Rabbit's Foot drops from rabbits with an unusually generous 10% chance per kill, increasing with looting, making it significantly more common than most rare drops despite its valuable brewing applications. These lucky charms create potions of leaping when brewed, allowing players to jump higher and reduce fall damage through enhanced leg strength. The relatively high drop rate compared to other brewing ingredients creates an interesting value disparity where rabbit's feet are less treasured than their utility might suggest, unlike nearly every other rare drop in the game. Tamed cats may also present rabbit's feet as morning gifts, suggesting either impressive hunting skills or a disturbing inclination toward amputating small animals while their owners sleep. Despite its helpful properties, the item raises uncomfortable questions about Minecraft's ethics. Specifically, why severing a limb from a cute hopping creature somehow grants supernatural jumping abilities when liquefied and consumed. Rabbit Hide. Rabbit hide drops from rabbit 0 to 1 per kill, providing a specialized leather substitute with limited applications. When combined in a 4x4 pattern, these small pelts craft a single piece of leather, creating an inefficient but alternative source for that crucial crafting material. The low drop rate and meager output make rabbit farming for hide purposes generally impractical compared to cow ranching, though the additional food drops of raw rabbit provide compensatory value. Tamed cats may also deliver rabbit hides as morning gifts, continuing their disturbing tendency to dismember small creatures overnight. The item represents one of Minecraft's more realistic crafting chains, properly acknowledging that smaller animals provide less usable material than their larger counterparts, though the game mercifully abstracts away the actual skinning process that would otherwise transform this family-friendly title into something significantly more disturbing. Ghast Tier. Ghast tiers drop from Ghast 0 to 1 per kill, providing one of the Nether's most valuable brewing ingredients despite their melancholy origin story. These crystallized sorrows create potions of regeneration when brewed, granting health recovery that proves invaluable during extended combat or exploration. Beyond brewing, Ghast tiers craft end crystals, the explosive objects that heal the Ender Dragon and create devastating blasts when destroyed. The Flying Source mob creates one of the game's most challenging ranged combat scenarios, where players must deflect massive fireballs while maneuvering precarious nether terrain, often above endless lava oceans. Despite their significant utility, the lore implications of Ghast tiers, literally crystallized suffering from perpetually crying creatures, makes their collection feel strangely exploitative, as if the game is asking players to harvest misery itself for personal benefit. The uncomfortable juxtaposition of terrible sadness producing healing effects creates an oddly philosophical undercurrent to what's otherwise straightforward monster hunting. Nautilus Shell. Nautilus Shell dropped from drowned that spawn with them, always dropped if in offhand, serving as rare components for one of the game's most unusual utility items. When combined in an 8-shell ring with a Heart of the Sea, these spiral remnants craft conduits, underwater beacons that provide vision, mining speed, and water breathing to nearby players. The limited sources, drowned drops, or fishing treasure make shell collection a significant time investment, particularly since these specific drowned that carry them are uncommon variants within an already specific mob type. Wandering traders occasionally sell Nautilus shells, providing an alternative acquisition method that still requires significant emerald investment. The extreme rarity to utility ratio makes these shells among the game's most frustrating collection challenges, where players might spend hours hunting drowned in the murky depths with little to show for their efforts, a waterlogged version of the classic RPG fetch quest, where the requested items seem to become mysteriously scarcer the moment someone asks for them. Prismarine shards and crystals. Prismarine shards 0 to 2 and crystals 0 to 1 drop from guardians and elder guardians, providing the building blocks for ocean-themed construction. Shards create prismarine blocks, stairs, and slabs with distinctive aquatic aesthetics, while crystals power sea lanterns, underwater light sources with higher brightness than torches. The challenging Guardian source, found exclusively in ocean monuments protected by mining fatigue curses, creates one of the game's more difficult resource-gathering expeditions. These aquatic materials serve mainly aesthetic purposes rather than progression requirements, making them luxury items for players seeking underwater builds with appropriate thematic elements. The Elder Guardian's annoyingly effective mining fatigue effect makes harvesting these materials feel like trying to demolish a building with a plastic spoon. I guess it's technically possible, but requiring patience beyond what most humans reasonably possess. Scute. Scutes drop from baby turtles when they grow into adults, 1 per turtle, providing one of the game's most unusual renewable resources tied to a unique growth mechanic. These reptilian shells craft turtle helmets, specialized armor that grants water breathing for 10 seconds when underwater, creating brief diving opportunities without potions or conduits. The acquisition method requires finding turtle eggs, protecting them through hatching, and then waiting for the slow-moving babies to mature, a process that creates one of Minecraft's longest resource production chains. The growth-based dropping mechanic, rather than standard death drops, encourages turtle protection rather than slaughter, making this one of the few items that promotes conservation instead of efficient farming through mass killing. Despite providing literal breathing room underwater, turtle helmets remain among the game's most overlooked armor pieces, probably because anyone patient enough to farm scutes likely has the persistence to create water-breathing potions or conduits instead. Gunpowder. Gunpowder drops from creepers 0 to 2 per kill, gas 0 to 2 per kill, and witches 0 to 6 per kill, but competing with other possible drops, serving as the explosive component in the game's crafting system. This volatile powder creates TNT when combined with sand, enabling mining shortcuts, traps, and occasionally catastrophic base accidents. Beyond explosives, gunpowder fuels firework rockets that propel elytra flight and lingering potions that create area effect clouds. The creeper source creates one of gaming's most iconic risk-reward scenarios. The very mob you hunt for gunpowder is also the one most likely to destroy your collection with a single well-timed explosion. Despite enabling some of the game's most powerful tools, gunpowder looks suspiciously like gray sand, presumably because rendering actual explosive compounds might raise some eyebrows from concerned parents already worried about their kids building digital TNT cannons. Shulker Shell. Shulker shells drop from shulkers with a 50% chance per kill in Java Edition, affected by looting, creating one of the game's most valuable inventory management tools. When combined in pairs, these purple carapaces craft shulker boxes, portable containers that retain their contents when broken, essentially functioning as backpacks. This unique property revolutionizes late-game resource gathering, allowing players to carry multiple inventories worth of materials in a single trip. The challenging source location, end cities floating in the void, and the dangerous levitation effect of shulkers makes shell collection a notable late-game challenge. Despite their game-changing utility, shulker boxes require reaching the literal end of the game, creating an amusing progression where players receive inventory management solutions only after they've likely completed most major projects that would benefit from them, the Minecraft equivalent of finding the instruction manual after you've already assembled the furniture. Coal. Coal drops from wither skeletons 0 to 1 per kill, providing an unusual renewable source for this otherwise mineral-based resource. These black lumps serve as furnace fuel, torch components, and crafting ingredients for fire charges and campfires. The wither skeleton source creates an interesting alternative to mining, though the dangerous environment of nether fortresses makes this collection method significantly more challenging than traditional excavation. Given that coal generates abundantly in the overworld, the wither skeleton source exists primarily as a secondary benefit when hunting, For the much more rare wither skeleton skulls, the curious logic of fiery nether creatures dropping fuel elements raises questions about wither skeleton biology, specifically why creatures living in a dimension filled with eternal fire would somehow contain combustible materials, as if their skeletal structure evolved specifically to be convenient for player furnace operations. Wither skeleton skull. Wither skeleton skulls drop rarely from wither skeletons, 2.5% chance, and player kills only, serving as the key component for summoning the Wither Boss. When 3 skulls are placed on a T-shaped arrangement of soul sand or soul soil, they create one of the game's most destructive forces, a floating 3-headed monster that fires explosive skulls and damages nearby creatures. The extremely low drop rate creates one of Minecraft's most notorious grinding scenarios, where players spend hours in nether fortresses, fighting tall, sword-wielding skeletons for a chance at these valuable trophies. Beyond boss summoning, wither skeleton skulls function as macabre decorations when placed on the ground or walls. The skull's rarity perfectly demonstrates Minecraft's approach to progression gates. Technically, it's achievable through persistence alone, but sufficiently tedious to make you question your life choices around the 15th fortress cleared with 0 skulls obtained. Emeralds. Emeralds drop from Evokers and Vindicators, 0 to 1 per kill and player kills only, serving as rare combat-based sources for the game's primary trading currency. These green gems function exclusively in villager trading systems, purchasing goods and services that range from basic food to enchanted books and specialized equipment. The hostile mob sources provide interesting alternatives to the more common methods of emerald acquisition through mining or villager trading, though the dangerous nature of these enemies makes them inefficient farming targets compared to established trading halls. In Bedrock Edition, raid-spawned pillagers and vindicators offer additional emerald drops with varying quantities, 1 to 5, depending on difficulty settings. Despite their classification as rare and valuable gems in Minecraft's internal lore, the economic system that emeralds support creates such abundant circulation that most experienced players end up with chests full of unused currency, the fantasy equivalent of becoming a millionaire but living in a world where everything still costs exactly $1. Arrows. Arrows drop from skeletons and strays, 0 to 2 per kill, providing pre-crafted ammunition for bows and crossbows without requiring the usual feather, flint, and stick combination. These projectiles serve as the game's standard ranged weapon system, with various specialized variants available through crafting or stray drops, arrows of slowness. The skeleton source creates an amusing sustainability loop where players can recover ammunition from the very enemies who just used it against them, though the relatively low drop quantity means crafting eventually becomes necessary for serious archers. Despite the logical issues with reclaiming arrows that were just embedded in your own character model, this recycling system represents one of Minecraft's more elegant resource loops, essentially turning enemies into reluctant ammunition dispensers for patient players willing to collect their shots. Glass bottle, glowstone dust, redstone, sugar, and sticks. These witch-dropped components, 0 to 6 of each possible per kill, provide brewing ingredients and crafting materials without their usual acquisition methods. Glass bottles avoid the sand gathering and furnace smelting typically required, while glowstone dust, redstone, and sugar bypass their standard mining requirements. Sticks, appearing with twice the probability of other witch drops, provide the most basic crafting component without the usual wood processing steps. The witch drop system allocates 1 to 3 different item types per death, with 0 to 2 actual items per selected type, creating the possibility for up to 6 of a single component if the same type gets selected multiple times. This random assortment of magical ingredients suggests that witches in the Minecraft universe operate as walking potion laboratories rather than coherent threats, essentially dangerous supply closets that occasionally throw harmful potions at passing players between being harvested for their contents. Seagrass. Seagrass drops from turtles, 0 to 2 per kill, providing an unusual source for this otherwise naturally generated underwater plant. This aquatic vegetation primarily serves as breeding food for turtles and composting material for bone meal production. The turtle drop source creates an ironic situation where killing turtles yields the very item used to breed more turtles, though the ethical implications and inefficiency compared to simply harvesting wild seagrass with shears make this an impractical farming method. Beyond practical applications, seagrass functions as underwater decoration, creating visually appealing ocean floors or aquarium aesthetics. The peculiar instance of turtles dropping perfectly intact plant matter raises questions about reptilian digestion in the Minecraft universe, specifically why turtles apparently store completely usable seagrass instead of actually consuming it, as if they function as mobile storage units rather than living creatures with functional digestive systems. Bamboo. Bamboo drops from Panda 0-2 in Bedrock Edition and 1 in Java Edition, providing a mob-based source for this otherwise location-specific plant. This versatile material crafts scaffolding for vertical building projects, sticks for basic tools, and fuel for furnaces, albeit requiring multiple pieces per smelting operation. The Panda source creates an ethically questionable acquisition method, as these endangered in real-life creatures must be killed for minimal bamboo return compared to establishing proper bamboo farms from naturally generating jungle specimens. Weak baby pandas can sneeze and drop slime balls, providing an adorable alternative acquisition method for an otherwise unrelated source. The bamboo-panda relationship creates one of the game's most ecologically accurate representations, properly associating the animal with its primary food source, though the dropping mechanics suggest pandas are made partially of bamboo rather than simply consuming it, creating uncomfortable questions about ursine biology in the Minecraft universe. Snowballs. Snowballs drop from snow golems, 0-15 per kill, providing projectiles that deal knockback but no damage to most entities. These frozen balls of snow affect blazes and certain nether mobs differently, dealing actual damage that makes them situationally useful despite their general harmlessness. Beyond combat applications, snowballs craft snow blocks when arranged in a 2x2 pattern, creating building materials for winter-themed construction. The snow golem source creates a renewable acquisition method that avoids shoveling natural snow, though the ethical implications of destroying helpful defensive mobs for their resources makes this an inefficient approach compared to simple snow harvesting. The staggering potential quantity, up to 15 from a single golem, suggests that these creatures are essentially ambulatory snowball dispensers with pumpkin heads rather than actual entities, raising uncomfortable questions about whether players are killing sentient beings or simply disassembling decorative snow constructs that somehow gained mobility.